Ladies and gentlemen, it's Jefferson Starship.
When the truth is found to be lies, and all the joy within you dies. Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love? Wouldn't you let somebody to love? You better find somebody to love. With a hand, remember what was going on. Sing it, come on. Leave your hand, leave your hand.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, Cathy. Can you see me
Great.
and hear me?
I can see you and hear you perfectly.
I
Yes.
love it. I love it. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Happy Friday.
You
Don't even
too.
know. Can you believe it's August? Like time.
I know. I thought it was still March.
Exactly. Exactly. What is time right now? Oh, Cathy, thank you. So I really appreciate your time. You know,
Hey,
what an
no
absolute
problem.
pleasure to have you. You know, singer, songwriter, actress. You know, most of my audience, of course, knows you as the lead singer of Jefferson Starship. That's how most people know you. And we'll talk about that. You guys have a new EP coming out, Mother of the Sun, August 21st. But there is so much that you've done, Cathy. You've done everything. You know,
Seems
full
like
of
it.
story. Yeah, full of storied moments. You know, of course, your own band, Cathy Richardson Band, Love Janis, the whole thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, first of all, let me first ask you, Cathy. You've done everything. Did you ever imagine that something like this could ever happen? This pandemic, this craziness.
I never really thought about it, honestly. I guess I knew it could happen, but I certainly didn't think it was going to. Like, we were just planning for a big year, a record release, world tour, international tour dates with Deep Purple, and it all just went away. Poof. But the new record is still here, so
Yeah,
we have that to look forward to.
Absolutely. No, I've been listening to it. Lots of good stuff. Actually, Pete Sears, I forgot to mention, the original member, plays song on 3 of the songs, so that's pretty
Yes.
exciting.
Yeah.
And Cathy. And how are you and Rachel doing? Like, have you guys been baking bread?
No, she just made chicken enchiladas that were so delicious, and but we haven't baked any bread. But Rachel does most
Good
of
for you.
the cooking because I'm not that good at it. I make myself like 2 soft-boiled eggs every morning, and that's about the extent of my cooking. I can pour a bowl of cereal for the kids.
Okay.
But that's about it.
No, that's perfect. I mean, boiled eggs, that's protein,
Yeah.
cereal, deliciousness. You're covering all the bases in my
all the
book.
bases. Yummy.
Oh, Cathy, that's great. If you don't mind, let's talk about your early life for a second and then kind of move our way
Sure.
forward, if that's all right with you. Obviously, you know, you grew up in Burr Ridge, beautiful suburban town in Illinois, big, nice houses and the whole thing. Legend says your mother, Carol, she played piano and encouraged you and, your 2 older sisters and younger brother to pursue the arts, right?
She did.
Take us a little bit, how it was inside your house. Was there music around? Were people dancing? How was it inside?
Yes, all of that. Record player, dancing, family dance parties in the living room, getting around the piano, singing songs, making recordings with the cassette player, recording ourselves singing and sending them to our grandparents and stuff. And
Nice.
it was always a lot of music and a lot of fun, singing in the car on family trips and, learning about harmony and vocal arrangements. My mom was a wonderful singer, and she was also like an elementary school teacher and a music teacher. So she was great with kids and great with teaching us about music.
Oh, really nice memories. Really nice memories. And of course, your first standing ovation, you were in church.
Yes.
You were singing a Barbra Streisand song. That's the word on the street. Sam, you made the pants too long.
Yes. It was a church fundraiser dinner on a Friday evening or something, and my mom accompanied me. I had back in those days, they didn't, there was no internet, so we had to go down to the sheet music store in the city in Chicago.
Yeah.
Big outing to get this particular piece of music, and my mom backed me up, and I made my own costume and everything, and I had my own like choreography.
Yeah.
And when I was finished singing, everybody jumped out of their seats, and I was applauding. It was terrifying. I was terrified. It was so loud and it was so unexpected.
Right.
And I went running off the stage, and my mom met me back there and said, Cathy, they gave you a standing ovation. I'm like, what's that?
Right.
You know? And she says, it's really good. It means they really liked you. So then that was it. I knew from that point on, that was the only reaction that was going to be acceptable for me.
Oh my God. You were hooked. You got the
totally
hit.
hooked. Totally hooked.
I love it. I love it, Cathy. And of course, you know, for those familiar with the area, that BP gas station that is on Plainfield and LaGrange Road,
Yeah.
that is where rock history was made, that gas station that you drive by every day, because Cathy's father used to, I think, own it, work in it.
He owned it, yeah. Yes.
And of course, you worked with him as well as sometimes as a mechanic, right?
Yeah, I did everything that you can do at a gas station.
That's amazing.
I learned the whole trade.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what did you learn besides car stuff? What did you learn about like hard work, discipline, you know, like putting your hours in that you have to this day?
We worked so hard. And, you know, it was just what you did. You got up early, you put a uniform on, and you got, you know, 7 o'clock in the morning, you were there, and you stayed until the work was done. Yeah. And it might be 12 hours, you know, but, you know, when you own your own business, you have to put in all the work. And my dad eventually made me the manager. So I was hiring and firing people. I was training people. I worked in the office doing the books, you know, dealing with the cashiering, keeping the place clean, and then learning how to fix cars, going on service calls, driving a tow truck. You know, sometimes I'd roll up to change somebody's tire or give him a jump or something, and it would be a man, and he would see me, this young girl, and he'd say, oh, let me do it, you know. Didn't want me, you know, and I'm like, no, really, it's my job, it's okay. And so it was interesting to see the attitudes about women doing a non-traditional job, you know. Yeah. So it just basically, though, it really just motivated me to get the hell out of there and do music. And I was very depressed during those years because I was not pursuing my dreams. You know, my father was very supportive, but he wanted to make sure that I was going to be able to make a living. So he said, you know, music is hard, you need a trade. And that, you know, if you learn how to fix cars, you'll always have that to fall back on. Yeah. But what I then later realized is that music is a trade. It's a valuable trade. And I will always have music to fall back on, no matter what. So even with this pandemic, I'm not able to tour anymore, but I can always, I can do recording sessions. I can write music, produce music. I can do solo acoustic shows. And so hopefully, you know, I'll be able to survive through this period until we can get back playing live again. Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's great. That's great, Cathy. Thanks for sharing that insight. But one good thing happened in the gas station, though. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Jim Peterik, right? The co-founder of Survivor. Yeah. He also wrote Eye of the Tiger, that whole thing. Mm-hmm. One day he came to the gas station. Yeah. I mean, I don't believe in coincidences personally like that. That's because what are the odds? Well, he lived in the neighborhood. He lived in the neighborhood, and a lot of the guys that worked at the gas stations were also musicians, go figure. So they recognized him. I wasn't there, but the guy said, oh, that's the guy from Survivor. And my dad said, really? I'm going to go talk to him. So my dad went out there. I said, oh, you're the guy from Survivor. We love your music. My daughter is a singer. And Jim probably rolled his eyes and, oh, great, you know. And he said, here we go. Yeah. Well, do you have any advice? And he said, yeah, tell her to get a good lawyer. And I'm sure he said it sort of sarcastically because he was going through some lawsuits. And, you know, the first thing that happens when you get successful is somebody's going to sue you. So it turned out to be very good advice. Good advice, yeah. My dad said, well, do you know any? And he said, yeah, I do. And he gave us the name of this local music entertainment attorney, Linda Mensch. Mm. And I thought, what do I need a lawyer for? I don't have any contracts. And I didn't really know that the way that you shop a deal oftentimes is through an entertainment attorney because they have relationships with the labels.
Sure.
But I didn't know that. So I didn't ever call her until someone did offer me a contract. And my dad said, well, we're calling this lawyer that Jim Peterik recommended. And she read the contract and said, this is a terrible contract. You shouldn't get anywhere near this with the 10-foot pole.
Wow.
But who did you say? Jim Peterik referred you to me? I'm going to refer you back to him. So she called Jim and said, hey, this girl that you sent me from the gas station is really good. You should listen to her.
That's a cool story.
Yeah. So he said, what? He probably didn't even remember, but he also lived in Burr Ridge. He lived in the fancy part of Burr Ridge. We lived in the old school part of Burr Ridge, but he was very close to me. So I went to his house and I brought him my demo tapes and, you know, he was like, yeah, there's potential here, you know? And so he started co-writing songs with me and then hiring me as a session singer to sing his demos. And that's how we struck up a relationship. Long story short, I asked him to produce with me my first record and he did. And we've been friends ever since. So
that's amazing.
He's a huge, huge supporter and great person.
That's amazing. And of course, my audience will know Moon Not Banana from 1993. And I'll post the link in the description.
Yeah.
Because
I see your Velvet Underground album cover in the back. That is actually a banana.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. See, I prepared. Wink, wink. All right, Cathy. Wow, we can't go over everything. Your life is so fascinating, unfortunately. But let's move on to the Cathy Richardson Band real quick because you were a live institution in the 1990s. I mean, you played so many shows. There were years that you were playing 150 shows per year.
Yes, okay. And mostly in the Midwest. Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, like Chicago, that area, like super known. But I on the research, I saw some really good videos. You had a lot of fun on stage with people like Joel Hoekstra, Ed Breckenfield, you know, Jude Gold, all these people. How would you describe this era, maybe for people that are just getting acquainted with you and that part of your career? How would you describe it?
Well, the 90s, you know, I started in the early 90s. That's when I really started putting music out and trying to make a career out of it. And it was just so exciting. I was so young, so naive, so ambitious, so full of just ready to just take on the world, you know, and I'm doing this. I'm going to be a rock star. This is my mission. I'm going to get signed by a record company and I'm going to become rich and famous. And that's going to be my life, you know? Yeah. And after trudging away for many, many years and getting closer and, you know, selling out Park West, you know, like big venues in the city and playing and having lines around the block and having such a huge buzz and the major papers writing about us and the radio stations playing us in rotation. And it was a very exciting time. And, but you know, it was a lot of rejection, a lot of offers that were terrible that you would never want to deal with. So I just continued putting out my own records, and then I got cast in Love, Janis, which you might be ready to ask me about next, which is, go ahead, ask me.
So predictable, right? I know, so predictable. you probably have this roadmap of these interviews.
Well,
but you know
it is like the timeline of how my career, how it was going and what changed it. And Love, Janis changed the trajectory in a whole way that I never expected to happen, never expected to be offered a job like that.
Yeah.
And so I ended up doing it in New York City, and I went there with a stack of demos, and I was ready for, like, this is it. This is my big moment. This is my national stage. This is my career launching point. I'm going to go do the show. Everyone's going to love me, and I'm going to get a record deal.
Right.
And the vice president of RCA came to the show. And this is someone who I'd been shopped to in the past, and he had always taken a pass. But this time he said, I get it now. And let's set a meeting. So we set a meeting. And that day, my phone's ringing off the hook. That's a lot of sirens. You know, I lived in New York City, so there's always a lot of sirens. Like this particular day, the city was just so noisy, but my phone was ringing. I'm like, why don't people know this is my big day? I need my beauty sleep, you know? And I get up, finally, I start listening to the messages, and I'm hearing these, "Are you okay? Terrorist attack in
Oh
New
no.
York." I go look out my front window, and I see people just walking, dragging suitcases up the street. I turn on my TV, and the World Trade Center falls down. And that was the day that my meeting with RCA was supposed to be, and it never did happen. A few days later, RCA axed the whole rock department, and so that I just decided to, you know, after trudging it out a few more months in New York City with the burning building and stuff, I got to get out of here. Wow. And I just sort of put my tail between my legs and said, I'm going to go make a record. I wrote a ton of songs while I was there. I was feeling very inspired and prolific by living in the city, and so I'd written like 2 albums worth of material.
Yeah. I
went home and I decided to do a happy album and a sad album. The happy album was The Road to Bliss. I'm actually wearing the hat.
Yeah.
and ended up, I released it myself.
Wow.
Ended up getting nominated for a Grammy for Best Recording Package, and there you go. There you have it.
What a story. Oh my God, what an unbelievable story. Thanks so much for sharing that. Wow.
Of course.
Yeah. And did you, I mean, you basically, you are Janis Joplin, but did you learn something about her just throughout this whole ordeal that you didn't know before?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't really know that much about her.
Really?
I had actually read the book Love, Janis. I saw it in the bookstore when it came out, and it was a huge display, so it was hard to miss. But I was like, I want to read that book. And so then when the play came along, and it was another, like a Jim Peterik reference. They had auditioned everybody in theater, and they couldn't find anybody that they felt could sing the part of Janis. And they had an actress the play had 2 women playing Janis. One was a singer and one was an actress. So the actress did perform the monologues, and the singer came out with the band and sang the songs. So they didn't find anyone in the theater world. And so they started looking in the rock world, and my name kept coming up, and Jim Peterik, Dennis DeYoung, everybody they asked for said, this is, you got to ask this girl. Yeah. So when they called me, I was like, oh, I'm very flattered, but I don't do theater. I don't really sound like Janis Joplin. I mean,
right.
I'm a rock singer, and I sing hard, but my sound doesn't sound like her. They're like, we don't care. That's what we want is a real singer. We don't want you to be an actor. We don't want you to do an impression.
Yeah.
We want you
they read the letters, you sing.
Yeah, we want you to be you and bring what you bring to it, but we want the authenticity of that. So I thought that was a really great, I'm like, well, how can I lose then,
Yeah.
Of course, when you're singing in the place of a legend like Janis Joplin, you're going to be harshly critiqued, and rightfully so. I mean, she was so unique. Nobody could really sound like her unless you were really doing an impersonation. So I did learn over the years about how to manipulate my voice and to make myself sound more like her. And now it's sort of like a thing I could turn on or off to do my Janis sound. And actually, ironically, tonight on YouTube, Ravinia TV is airing a Janis Joplin episode, and they had me come down and sing 4 songs with a band. It's been like many years since I did Janis, but I'm dying to see it. We recorded it back in May or June, so it's just coming out tonight on Ravinia's YouTube channel.
That's exciting. Okay, so when we air this, it's going to be like a week after this happens.
But they can find it.
I hope it's probably going to be there. That's super. Yeah, you're amazing as Janis. People should check that out. Also, Google YouTube PBS. Janis, your name, the whole thing. A lot of good stuff in there. Cool. We're getting to Jefferson Starship just a second. So, of course, the way you meet them, or correct me if I'm wrong, is you are playing with Big Brother on the holding company, which is Janis's basically band, and you're opening for Jefferson. Yeah. And you strike up a relationship. Is that how the connection's made?
Yeah. It was like a few bands on tour, and immediately made friends with the guys in Jefferson Starship. And of course, I'm a huge fan. I have all the Jefferson stuff on vinyl, Airplane and Starship. Yeah. I mean, I have behind me, I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah. Give us a tour. Give us a little sneak peek.
This is a mirror, that I won at a carnival when I was in high school.
No way.
Where you, So, you know, you throw darts at a wall of balloons. If you hit 3, you get a prize. I picked that Jefferson Starship mirror.
Way. And you kept it.
Yes, I've had it all these years, and it's funny. And I also have over my left shoulder here, I have Grace Slick self-portrait that I bought from her years before at an art show. I just happened along, and there she was, and I was like, I have to buy a painting so I can meet her. So
unbelievable.
I had these things hanging on my wall. I had just moved to San Francisco, and I'd moved all my stuff out there thinking that I was doing Love Janis there.
Yeah.
And I was thinking this play is going to run forever, and I'm just going to live here and do this show for the rest of my life until I can't sing anymore.
Right.
You know? And 5 days after I moved in or signed my lease, the play closed. It was like, oh no, like,
okay.
Oh no. So now I just moved all my stuff to San Francisco. I signed a year lease in a very expensive apartment, and I don't have a job, you know, and I'm like, oh man, what am I going to do? So I was sitting there, and Grace sitting over my shoulder next to my mirror, and I get an email about going on the road with Big Brother and the holding company opening for Jefferson Starship. I'm like, yes. Oh, cool. I got a job, you know? So I made friends with them. And they were coming out in the wings to watch me sing every night. Especially at the end of the show, we did Ball and Chain. Yeah. And there's that big open cadenza that, you know, is open for anything to happen, and all the, you know, ranting and raving and screaming and everything. So they'd all like gather back there to watch what's she gonna do, and we became buddies and friends. And then their singer Diana Mangano decided to leave after that. Yeah. And so they said, "Hey, what are you? Would you consider coming and joining us? And we're gonna make a record, and we're gonna do all this and that." I was like, "Are you kidding me? That's like beyond a fantasy come true." I mean, like, I love Jefferson Starship. Like, they're one of my favorite bands. They're my second favorite band behind Heart, who was my first favorite band when I was growing up. But I just love their music, and it's so insane, and it's so right in my wheelhouse. Yeah. Even more so than Janis, although I did get better at doing Janis over the years, but that it was just so much more. I felt more connected to that music as a person growing up listening to it. So I can't believe it. Wow. Yeah. So I was like, I know I'm actually perfect for this. Yeah. So Paul Kantner came to my apartment, and I had my whole stack of vinyl sitting on the floor so he could see what a big fan I was and how prepared I actually am for this job. And we got guitars, and we sang, we harmonized, and he said, "Yeah, you know, this was just a formality. You're in." You're in. And, thumbs up. Yeah. Oh. So that's how I got into the band.
Cathy, your life, I knew it, but even more so now. You are a Hollywood movie. Like, are you kidding? Like, your life is amazing. When are you going to write a book?
I've thought about it. I've started and stopped several times. I just keep thinking about all my stories in my head and trying to, one day I'll map it all out and tell all the best stories.
Yeah. It's
I
like
have
a saga.
A title. I'm not a real rock star, but I play one on stage.
Okay, that's great. All right, you can pre-order now on Amazon. It's coming out in 6 years.
I'll be just, a chapter a year or something.
Oh my God, epic, Cathy. Okay, and the PBS show that we mentioned, which is a legendary show, very big show for you with them, was one of your first ones, right? Wasn't it like just go straight ahead?
When I went on with Jefferson Starship on PBS, yeah, that was one of the first. That was like, I had been in the band about a year, and that was like one of our biggest things. And that was so great for the band, because when I joined, the band was kind of not doing that well. Like, a lot of small clubs, some big shows, and a ton of touring, but just really hard, not a lot of money. Like, just sort of the draw was, it was difficult. So that performance being on PBS gave us a huge shot in the arm. And, the video on my YouTube channel has gotten a couple million views. It's like, fantastic. That really, really helped us. And it made a lot of people go, who is that? So for me, it was a great exposure, and for the band, it's been a great piece. And then a few years ago, when Jefferson Airplane was inducted into the Grammy, they got a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award.
Right.
Grace, who does not sing anymore, asked me to sing in her place. So there I was 10 years later, again on great performances on PBS, singing in Grace's spot with Jack and Yorma from Jefferson Airplane. And that was definitely a full circle, moment right there.
Cathy, what a story. You're being so generous with your time. Just a couple more questions. Let me ask you about the first time that you played like on tour with Jefferson Starship, where you had like a what the hell moment. Like, holy shit, rivers of people, different audiences that you were accustomed to. Like, do you have like a show that stands out?
Well, I remember just like when I first came into the band, they didn't have me singing all the songs because he handed me a list of like 150 songs or something. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm never going to learn all these songs. Tell me which songs we're playing, and he's like, we never know until right before. I'm like,
oh god, I'm like Grateful Dead, Bruce Springsteen. Yeah.
So my very first show, I'm cramming all these songs that we might be playing, and I tell myself, I don't need to practice Somebody to Love because I know that song front and back. Well, yeah. Sound check. Let's try Somebody to Love. All right, 1, 2, 3, and we're singing along, and we get to the bridge breakdown section. Your eyes, I say, your eyes may look like his. And there's a bar of 2 that I didn't know about because I didn't listen. So I don't know where to come in, and I'm coming in early, and they're like, no, wrong, try again. And then finally somebody says to me, there's a bar of 2. Oh my God. So it took 4 or 5 false starts. And also at the time, the manager was selling these gold circle VIP tickets where you could come to sound check. So I've got the diehard fans that have spent the extra money to be there, and they're like, oh, we're watching this girl's first show. They're tweeting, she doesn't know Somebody to Love. This is going to be a train wreck. So I definitely remember that. I didn't screw it up during the actual show, and I never messed it up again. But that was pretty intimidating.
That is so funny, Cathy. What a great story. Are you kidding me? That's fantastic. Well, thanks for sharing that. Yeah. All right, let's talk about the new EP. Okay. Mother of the Sun. It's the first time in 12 years that there's new music. Yeah. Like I said, a lot of highlights. Peter's here is being back for a few of the songs. Tell us a little bit about the album. How was the process? Did you like it?
Oh yeah, right now I feel like I'm in the late stages of labor, and I want this baby to come out. And it's funny because the album is called Mother of the Sun, S-U-N. We started after Paul died, we started conceiving like we want to do new music because there's a lot of people out there saying, oh, they're not the original band, they're a tribute band, they're a cover band, all this stuff. And I've never in my whole life, I've only ever been an artist as far as I'm concerned. I've been writing, producing, releasing music for years and years. I never pursued the like tribute band route as a young artist. In fact, resented people who did. So to be like dismissed as that after being in the band for a decade, playing with Paul Kantner and Marty Ballin and Jack and Yorma, and having Grace become a friend and a mentor to me. Yeah. It's like, we need to create our own identity with this band, because all of us have been in the band for many, many years. Chris Smith is not original, but he's been in the band longer than any original member, 25 years or something. Right. And so we wanted to create our own identity while remaining true to the legacy of the band, which I think by doing new music, we are being true to the legacy, because Paul created this band to be a collective and bringing the best people in for the job. And I feel like he's definitely smiling down. These songs are influenced by him. The album art, the title, it's got a space theme. Mother of the Sun is based on the goddess Cassiopeia, who is also a constellation. Right. And our artwork for our album has all this Cassiopeia stuff. Can I show you? I've got it right here.
Oh my God. I strongly encourage the audio audience for this episode to check out the video version because this is fantastic what's happening here.
Okay, so I will describe it for the people who are on audio. I'm holding up the CD here. It looks like a regular CD box. On the cover is my son Hendrix floating a little wooden ship across a sea of stars where the
Beautiful.
Cassiopeia Nebula or constellation is.
Stunning.
And I'm going to pull off the sleeve. And again, you see it looks like a regular CD. But you open it up. The CD is attached here. Open it again.
Oh,
You got more beautiful
stunning.
art. And then pop it like this. Boom.
Stop.
Space box.
Oh my God, guys! It looks like it's like the box of a Happy Meal, but with music.
But with music, and beautiful artwork on all
Stunning.
four sides. Original artwork by a young artist named Nicholas Moeller, who's our manager's mentoring him for some college program.
Unbelievable.
And he said, "I do art," and he says, "Do you want to do an album cover?" So this kid, he's never done this before. He makes collage art. He takes like pictures of things and he attaches them to other things. So he does all these little collages, which are
Stunning.
into like normal everyday stuff. And and then there's a booklet with lyrics. And then
That's one of the most beautiful album packages I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think so too. And this took, oh my God, this took so long and so many missteps and misfires along the way, but it folds right back down to a CD and it fits in your CD slot. So.
Oh my God, talk about a collectible.
Yeah, so
Oh
that's
my
the
God.
Space Box. We have a regular old digi pack, and of course we're on all the digital streaming services.
Sure. That's just the CD, right? Not the vinyl.
Right. The vinyl is not going to come out till the end of the year because of production
Delays or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, it takes forever to make an album.
Yeah. Oh, Cathy, what a great interview. Let me ask you this last question.
Okay.
What's going to happen with the pandemic, Cathy? And I ask you because obviously you, just hearing your story, you have something with the universe. There's some connection there. There's some connection that you have. So why don't you just tell us, like, are we going to survive this? When is this going to be over? Just tell us what's going to happen, Cathy.
We are going to survive. If we don't get a vaccine right away, I think we're going to discover a treatment. I actually, just before I spoke to you, I was attempting to donate plasma because I did have COVID back in March and I tested positive for antibodies. And I happen to know, secondhand through our accountant who had horrible COVID in the ICU. He got antibodies from New York and it instantly got him better. And people that's what we're hearing again and again. So I'm trying to donate my plasma with my antibodies to be a treatment for people who are in dire straits. And I think anybody out there, if you think you had COVID, try to get the antibody test. If you're positive, go donate plasma because this is right now the one treatment that we have that we're pretty sure works, and will give us lasting immunity for at least, I don't know, at least as long as the antibodies linger in your body. We don't know that yet, but I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to find a vaccine. I don't know how long it's going to take, but everybody, if we want to get back to society and playing shows and stuff, everybody needs to mask up. If you're going outside, stay at home where you can. Don't expose yourself to too many people and vice versa.
Right.
And everybody's got to do their part to slow the spread so that we can open things back up and make some semblance of normal again.
Absolutely. Oh, perfect place to leave it. Cathy, what a great interview. And had so much fun talking to you. Can't wait to see you rock the stage whenever that is because you're going to come in like a fury.
I'm ready.
Exactly.
I am playing. I am going to be at Space in Evanston. They're doing an outdoor stage.
Oh, cool.
First
When
show
is that?
sold out on the 15th of August.
Okay.
So next Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And the first show at 7 sold out, so they added an early show. There's still tickets for that. It's only 50 people. It's outdoors, spread apart. So all ages, please come on out and
Epic.
hear some live music.
Oh, that's cool. Good for them. Cathy, have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for your
Jamie.
time.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Have a good one.